My name is Yoel Israel. Thank you everyone for coming. Before I go ahead and do a proper introduction, first I want to give a big thank you to our friends, our hosts, and our client, Ignite Deep Tech, for hosting this space. Thank you. They're big players in the ecosystem, something you know Wadi's been a big fan of and integrates itself into. We're big believers that a big part of winning is being part of the culture in the tech ecosystem. That's what we do with our events. That's what we do with IsraelTech. That's what we do with other things that we're doing. I'd like to just give like a moment to our friends and the host, Omer, to talk about a little what they're doing, and maybe she can talk about you guys can have events here too, and you can invite us also. Omer, you want to speak a word?
So, hey everyone. First, thank you all for coming. We're really excited to have you here. I'm Omer from Ignite Deep Tech. We're a deep tech accelerator. Our vision is to promote startups in different stages, and we're working with Wadi a lot of time. It's amazing experience. We really like them. So thank you, and enjoy, everyone.
And if you're interested in using the space, Omer's email's up there, or you can message me, and I'll put you in contact. The location's as good as it gets. So my name's Yoel Israel, the founder and CEO of Wadi. Also Cyfluencer and IsraelTech, but here we're talking about Wadi, we're talking about AI, and actually, is Google.com gonna die? By a show of hands here, who thinks Google.com as we know it will be dead by the end of 2026? So we got about 40% of the room raise their hands, all right? So I believe wholeheartedly that the way you go to Google.com now, what you see is not what you're gonna see in a year from now. And if you don't prepare and you don't get ahead of the curve, you'll fall behind. We always hear about huge advantages of first mover advantages in marketing, all right? We were able to do that on LinkedIn. We were able to do that on Quora. We're able to do that on Reddit. We're able to do that on X since it made changes after the acquisition. And now we're trying to do it with AI search and understanding that you must dominate and lead. I spoke to a prospect last week, and he was saying that he thinks it's too late. This reminds me of what I thought about buying Bitcoin. You're so far from too late. You're definitely early adapters. That's why we're having these events. If you've been to our events before, we don't just throw another B2B marketing event or things like that. We don't necessarily bring on people to stroke egos. We're here to provide value that you can immediately implement, make you smarter, improve your conversations. And as you go ahead and learn about marketing and discuss them and see what's going on, you'll be able to pull gems from our conversations, from our events, and see how you can add those layers on top of your own experience and become a better marketer. Our obsession is to ensure that the Israeli tech ecosystem has the best marketing in the world, so we can help our ecosystem, we can help our country and our economy move forward in a great way where we can all earn more, do more, not to make Israel better, but the whole world better. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that came out here. Give yourselves a round of applause, being leaders in this thing. And we're going to talk about the death of Google. So search ads in 2026. When you think about search advertising now on Google, you usually think about is Google.com search. There's also Microsoft ads, which is very good. We were just speaking to our friend DriveNets, how well it's working for them. If you target large enterprises, Microsoft ads is great, but I'm not going to talk about that now. We're going to talk about Google.com as you know it is going to die. So where are things going? Before we go, a little bit about me. I'm the founder of Wadi, IsraelTech, and Cyfluencer. And I love that I'm a tech advertising expert. I started marketing as an advertiser, first and foremost in Google, then LinkedIn, and then expanded into our marketing from there. I love startups. Why? Because they're tachlis. They care about the resources. They care about far more than enterprises. They care about the resource. They care about every piece of content. How can I leverage it? They care about their team. They care about the team's time. They care about the fact that they're letting you come here today. That's a resource of your time. They care about learning, and they really care about their budgets and their burn rates. This is something I can relate to. I think every human, every family understands that their resources are very important to them, and being able to extend that what you have in your family into business is these are the people that we love and partnering with. Much easier than enterprises. Actually, harder than enterprises, but more relatable than enterprises. I love social media, and our big thing is day trading, understanding attention. What people use, how people use things, and what you're going to learn is not just on Google, but really on all platforms except LinkedIn, because they don't seem to care about our feedback. They try to replicate what users want to do. The UX and the UI should ideally reflect making our lives easier. And I think Google, in my opinion, Google's network, I'm a big fan of Google, YouTube, their whole network. I think they are absolutely the best at UX UI. YouTube is probably the best example of that. All right, so is Google.com dead? So about 40% of you raise your hands that Google as we know it is going to be dead by the end of sometime in 2026. Everyone here that knows, right, who here, let's say, in the last month searched on any AI search, Gemini, Grok, ChatGPT, look around, just look around, the entire room. Look, okay? Who here in the last week used google.com search? Raise your hand, okay? The entire room, okay? All of you, it was at least 90% for both, at least. So everyone's using these tools. Now, if I asked the same questions a year ago, all the hands would have went up for google.com, and maybe 40%, half would have went up for ChatGPT or other AI searches. So think about where we're going and where we're headed, right? This isn't a trend. This is new technology that's here to stay. Anyone that thinks otherwise are the same people that said, oh, the internet's not going to stick. The internet's a fad. This kind of technology is so revolutionary that is changing everything. We're going to do another event on AI and social media. It's mind-blowing. You see what's going on, especially if you're using Grok. So you're going to see really unique things happening. But let's talk about Google. And I hope I don't go on too many tangents about AI marketing. I do that. I would apologize, but I can't really because I won't improve. Okay, so you should think about when you go into google.com, why do we like google.com? Why do we use it, right? It's fast, right? That's probably still biggest advantage over AI. It does take a while. It pulls from a lot of sources. And they do its best to serve you the information that they believe that you want as fast as you can. Now, I'm going to talk about the advertising component. There's one thing that's absolutely unique about google.com search, which is better than any other kind of marketing, in my opinion. It's unique, is that you have in the moment intent and in market. While I am searching and looking for a solution, you can then immediately show them they're looking and they want it, and you're providing that answer. Not just on organic, which Paul will talk about, but also on advertising. And the advertising, as we know it, shows up on top. We'll get into that in the next slide. But what's going to happen with ads? What's going to happen with the Google Knowledge Panel? Because google.com is not going to look like, in the future, it's not going to look like what it is today. It is going to look like ChatGPT. It's going to look like the Gemini feature. And we'll walk you through what that looks like and how I assume where the advertising is going to go. Google used to be, you search for something, you got what you wanted. This is like old school. If you're old like me, you would understand. This is what we get now, okay? You got some AI stuff, 4 ads. People also ask, view products, 10 organic results, and an ad on the bottom, and then page 2. On the right, it's not here, you would have a knowledge panel talking about your company and all of that, right, all the way on the right, right? Now, where's the future going? Google's going full circle. It's going back to giving you what you want, like ChatGPT, like AI, Gemini. It's already doing that, but that's not prioritized. So why is this important? Why is Google, let's put AI aside, or why is ChatGPT, why is AI search so popular and exploding? What's the reason? Think about it. When you search for something in Google, and Paul, I don't want to step on Paul's toes because he's going to talk a lot about traffic, but what happens is everything here is a link that sends you to another site, a page within a site, right? So what that means is your answers is what you go and learn is limited to the text and information on that page. That's it. And then you have to find that information within that page. So sometimes it could be, if you've ever done research, we'd open new tabs, find 5 pages, and we'll get information from pulling from 3 different pages, and that's how we come to our understanding of what we believe is our learning. But what does AI search do? It takes all the pages on here, all the social media, all of YouTube, which is why we're filming it for GEO for Wadi, because all this gets transcribed, right? All of that, it brings it all, and then it organizes and answers your question. And then you want clarity, so you can too. You can't go to Google search, okay, I get the information, like, okay, now I want to know more about, get more specific on this. No, you go back to Google, you research it, you open new tabs, think about how long it takes. As opposed to you go to the prompt and it'd been like, so if you were to say, what are the top, I'm trying to find cloud security, what are the best cloud security startups to help serve enterprises? So someone may search that. And then they're going to get a few answers, right? And they say, actually, that are good for employees of this or this size, are under this price per seat, blah, blah, blah. And then you start, and immediately starts to filter it for you, almost instantly, very fast. And so you get all the information you want immediately. Your search results, you get what you want immediately. The problem is, this is going away. The sponsored results. This too, but that's for Paul to talk about. This is going away. So what are you doing to capture that in-market, high-intent ads? How can you place ads to get to people if you're not winning in SEO and GEO, which you could because it's still early, and if you work with us, you know you already are. All right, so let's talk about the advertising network, and then we'll go back to the search. Google's advertising network, we're just going to talk about Google. So the main ones to think about is Google search ads. That's what we talked about last slide. That's probably the most important. That's the overwhelming majority of their revenue. So the banner ads you see throughout the internet, and the YouTube too. This is not search. YouTube does have search ads. You can search things in YouTube, and you can see ads. YouTube is I used to say the number 2 search engine. Now ChatGPT actually took over. So they're the number 1 video platform and is literally Google. Use shopping ads and app ads. Within the App Store, we also search for things. So there's also still opportunity to have search ads for Google there on YouTube and the App Store. But the overwhelming majority is google.com. And then they have advertising on, if you have an Android phone like I have, the discovery ads, they call them, on the platform. Google News, you see some news, and then every few there's something sponsored. So this is the Google's network. There's a few more, but they're not really relevant. So what's not going to change? YouTube ads is not going to change. I bought premium early on because Monday.com would not stop sending me ads. Anyone else remember that? Because of that, and I was like, we've been paying customers of YouTube, and they still didn't exclude us from the advertising. And so I was like, okay, I paid for it. By the way, best $10. Also, the YouTube Music app that comes with it is great. And you think what I'm saying is random. It's not. It's actually going to tie together when you understand Google. And then the GDN banners on your websites, on people's websites where you have banner ads, that's not changing. That's part of Google Ads network. You have discovery ads of Google News on your phone. And then you have app ads, which is in the App Store, and Gmail ads, which we've all seen. All of this, as far as we know, will not be changed. Here's my theory. As Google loses a lot of revenue to Google in Google search, I do think they're going to put a lot more energy and emphasis on how they can maximize data, targeting, and profits, or revenue from these other advertising. That's my opinion. So if you start to see changes there, it shouldn't surprise you. So what does Google.com look like now? This is a screenshot of me going into Google 2 nights ago. I went to Google.com, I took a screenshot. This is what you get, right? You get search, I'm feeling lucky, and AI mode. Now, so what I do, I wrote just traditional Google search and AI Gemini. Currently, when I hit enter, I did search and I hit enter, all right? What do you think loaded, the Google search or the AI mode? The Google search, actually. You would think, based on where it says the AI mode, where it's located, right? Well, that's even better. It's all right. I'm a better listener than reader myself. And then, but you see the magnifying glass that kind of implies, right? Plus, like that also maybe you want to do it. It's just interesting, all right? So here's how. Who here has ever ran or looked at the Google Ads dashboard ever? Anyone? Show of hands. Okay, wow. Okay, 2/3 of the room. Now, if you've ever run Google Ads, let's say for the last several years, this is how Google introduced, and it's very wise, how they introduced when they want to change their search ads. So they used to have their old ads. Then they introduced expanded text ads, okay? But what they did was they said, okay, now we have expanded text ads, and you can no longer make the old ads in another 90 days. Then you can only make expanded text ads. Then they said, in 9 months, you can no longer make all of the old ads. They're never going to be served. And then they moved to expanded text ads. Now they moved to responsive ads. And they say, okay, you no longer can make new expanded text ads, but we will still serve them. And then over time, we're going to sunset the expanded text ads, now responsive search ads. This is how Google operates. It's actually very smart. I think it's really wise how they transition and improve their search ads over time. This is the same thing, in my opinion, how Google's going to go, okay? They're letting you know there's this new feature, AI mode, they put up front. But you're not ready. We're so used to using Google.com, as we know, for so many years. You hit enter, it'll do a traditional Google search. We're going to look at the search engine results page in the next slide in a moment, right? In the future, what's going to happen is it might be that it will switch. Google search will be up there, AI mode will be there. You hit enter on a search query, it will take you by default AI mode. Now, if you think that Google.com is a search engine, you are wrong. It's, in my opinion, a search suggestion. I can search something and you can search something. We can be sitting in the same room. We can have the same IP address. But based on our data, demographics, and things that we viewed, we are being served different things. So as a general rule, you think you're getting the truth or best information. That's never true. It's tailored to you. And then they have all other kinds of other issues in the back end I'm not going to go into. So understanding that, what you're going to get is uniquely for you. So we're going to move back to what you're going to see in the future. You're going to hit enter. And you're going to start to see AI mode by default. But now this is my opinion, I'm speculating. Who won't? People that still today, probably people that wouldn't come to this event, that's probably their average age is higher than people in this room, that are, let's say my father, I'm having him in mind, and my mom, that are just going to be stuck with Google.com until the day they die. They want the traditional search. So I would assume Google knows this, and they see that they will continue wanting Google search and prefer it. And so they will always get the traditional Google search longer than the rest of us. The rest of us, what you should expect, we hit enter, we're getting straight to AI mode. So that's how it's going to transition, and then eventually it's going to probably drop the traditional Google search. Okay, so here's what it looks like. I searched the same thing. What will Google search ads look like when Gemini takes over? The results aren't even important. To be honest, it's kind of the layout. So this is what Google looks like, okay? This happened to be, no ads came on this, probably because I put Google search in it. And this is what the organic results look like. And this is what Gemini looks like. All right, just get an idea. So here's my predictions for Google search ads. So someone was saying earlier, right, you can tell what's an ad or a not. In my opinion, this is how I see advertising happening. Old school Google ads, old school, not where we had 4 ads on the top, there were also ads on the side. If you use LinkedIn, you may see on desktop, there are text ads, they're responsive ads, they're suggesting you jobs, follow this page. They have a certain kind of ads on the right. Then they have different ads in the newsfeed. You're seeing that used to be old school Google. LinkedIn has that. Other platforms has that on desktop where your screen's wide enough. So this is how I see the advertising coming in for Google. All right. The first is just like they have the resources here. Why wouldn't there be a 4th box with your ad, right? About AI search engine, a blog by Wadi about AI search, or an ad for this video, this recording could be right here. So you can have ads, and it will be when you search for it, as an example, right? Another is the way they write is in paragraph form, isn't like a blog form, I guess you want to say. Each ad format placements, if I have ads about ad format placements or things of the sort, whatever the category is, you expect it's a natural place to have an ad right here. This is at the very end of the searches, you will also, I'm very confident about that. Why? Because Google even has now, they have their 4 ads, a bunch of organic results, and on the bottom of each page, they have one more ad. Because why not? You have the most attention before you go at the very end. When you scroll to the bottom, when you want to then ask a follow-up to Gemini or any AI search, you're staring here. Right here is the search bar or the prompt. So it's actually a terrific place for the ad. And then you can get more specific in each section. What this means is a couple things. Number one is that we're going to go into a little bit of keywords. What are the keywords, right? Because the way we search on google.com might be 4 or 5 words. The way we search for an AI prompt could be 1 or 2 sentences. So if you're running Google Ads now, which you should be, and if you're not, you should, go hard to look at those search terms of what people are actually searching that are triggering your ads. This is unique information you'll be able to get when the transition happens. So Google doesn't take all your money, which with terrible keyword matching, which they seem to liberalize regularly. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If not, I'm not going to win it. So you should expect this is what advertising is going to look like. But it also means that the ads aren't going to be native. In a sense, they're not going to like blend in. So the ads in Google, old school, these look like the organic things, right? It's got the blue thing, it's got the text. They make it intentionally look organic, so you're more likely to engage on it and they put it in the top and you're more likely to click on it, which is, of course, revenue for Google, right? But here, that's not how it's going to look. You can't. Unless they need to say it's an ad legally, right, for transparency reasons. And also, it sticks out like a sore thumb. So what you need to understand is start thinking about your advertising needs to incorporate how it's going to look. Instead of it looking like when we build Google Ads in the future, where we want to make it look like what an organic result would look like based on what they search, you need to think what they're searching is longer queries, like I did, what would Google search, right? A full sentence or question, right? And you need to address that and how it's going to be placed. That means you can have a whole thing on Google search or Gemini ads. Let's say I have an ad on it, a blog I want to promote, right? Or a free guide. Then what I need to do is different parts of that ad copy needs to fit in for different keywords and for different sections, automate creative campaign management. We need to incorporate that into our keyword research. If you're doing Google ads now, you need to look at the search terms. Why it's fascinating. When you're going to look at the search terms, you'll get the traditional probably the large majority of your search terms would be traditional google.com, 4 or 5 words, something like that, right? But if you start to see queries that are a sentence long like mine is, you know that they're looking for AI, they're using it for Gemini. These are the search terms you need to start to optimize for now in your Google ads. So as we transition you next year, if you're working with us, we take that data, we take that knowledge and information, incorporate it into new ads that's relevant, so you don't just show up, but you actually get the click-through, which is what we're going to be going for. Those click-throughs are going to be much harder in the future because they don't blend as well into the content. If you think about Google display ads, you're reading a blog and then you have a banner ad, right? It doesn't blend into the text. It's going to be like that. I mean, it'll be text-based, not a banner, not an image, but it won't blend in as naturally. Yes, doctor. Organically, no. Advertising, yes. The reason not is because even if you think of like people that really care about sources like I do, like you read a well-researched book that has, they put the bibliography at the end. Even then, you're reading this book and they pulled all these sources. They may spend hours in interviews with people, right? Read all these things, and then at the end, no one sees it. At the end of the day, they, I wouldn't say repackage in a way, take information, bring it all together, repackage and give it to us what we want, the sources are less. What do? We trust the author. We take the, by the way, in general media, people are going from legacy, cable news, and all of that to trusting podcasters because we trust the individual over the large corporation, right, that hides behind a logo, right? So that's where we're going. You will not be seeing, in my opinion, because we see that with people that care the most about sources, people reading nonfiction, that they put all their bibliography at the end of the book. Same thing when I used to do that in college. And same thing here, at least they put it on the side. I say, this is the most bibliography and source-related things I've ever seen, actually. It's to Google's credit. So who knows? They might replace it with ads and then maybe just put here the logo of the company, of the website. If it was Jerusalem Post, it'd be like JPost in red, and you click it and it would open to that page. It might just be like that, where it would be small, but it wouldn't take away from the real estate. Google understands, very important as marketing, you need to, maximizing real estate is important. Yeah. Look at your Google ads now. Look at your search terms now. Look for the longer search terms. Those are Gemini searches. Then you can see what they click, did they click on your ad or not? You want to start to learn which ad did they click on. Start doing A/B testing a lot in Google ads. So you can see on the longer search terms that are AI related searchers, these are people that are fluent with AI search. We want to see what they're searching for, what ads they're clicking on. This is unique data and information we're going to get now that you're not going to be able to get once Google switches over to Gemini. Gemini targeting, the keywords and prompts. Some things to think about is, right, your search history. So you search for things in Chrome, your search history in Gemini, your Gmail, all this data, expect this to be further used and implemented into AI search. Because they're going to lose so much on the search terms and the keywords and advertising, they're going to take other data about you. So we're going to see far more expanded interest in demographic targeting for advertising. Expect to lean on that more. There's going to be a lot more of that in your targeting because the keywords and the ads when you serve it and the much traffic it isn't going to be as good, isn't going to be as wide. You're going to get your good traffic from ads, not just organic, it's going to drop from AI search. But so what you understand is that, but you're going to get a higher percentage of click-through rates. That's what Google and Gemini is going to go for. So in order to do that, they need to provide and ensure that the targeting and the interest on top of the search is better and improved. So it's going to move more from search and intent-based, but adding those layers of interest targeting. They're going to get more data from Google's network, Google Play Store, Gmail, Chrome. God, you work in Israel, so I'm calling it Chrome. Android and YouTube. And acquired third-party data. Boo, the boogie monster. We're not going to get into that now. All right, let's talk about the ads challenges, then we're done. All right, so Google Ads revenue, you just say from a business model. Their revenue is tanking. It really is. People are clicking through, people are using Google less. They're still using it a lot, but they need to switch over as fast as they can to Gemini. Why? As you guys stated earlier, younger people aren't using Google.com. They only want AI search. They're going straight to ChatGPT or Claude, right? As an example. So every day that goes by, they lose a little bit of more market share, to the younger people. After all, 45% of users of ChatGPT are under 25, all right? Half of them are under 25. And if you're in college, you're in high school, you're in school, you're using this stuff far more than Google. You're getting everything you want immediately. So you need to understand Google's losing their market share. They have there's this paradox where the sooner they move to Gemini, the more market share they keep, the more data and revenue they immediately lose, which is why they're going to go part of this transition phase, and people that still prefer Google.com because they're used to it will probably continue to get it as they can maximize those ads and give them what they want, while the younger demographic is going to see more and more Gemini. More younger people are seeing Gemini in their Google search than people that are older, because it's not a search engine. It tailors the search queries and answers to what you want, because Google's not objective. And then Google's incorporating ads before other platforms. All right, this is my hypothesis, all right, that you're going to see, because UI and UX is very important to Google and all these companies. Do you guys remember, and when you see the movie Social Network, like, all right, age yourselves, people. Who's 40 or over? Okay. For those that don't know, back when movies were in theaters, you know, it was like a drive-through when I saw that. So for those that don't know, there was when Mark Zuckerberg, I usually call him Zuckerface, I don't know why, because it's more fun to say, Zuckerface. Anyway, so when he got funded, right, from the VCs and started to grow and expand into universities and colleges, the VCs wanted to start monetizing and say, put ads. And Mark said, no. Why? Because he knew it would hurt the UX and the UI and he would lose users. It's in the movie Social Network, strongly recommended. Also, especially now, a lot of those players are now being reborn into other new tech things going on. So it would be fascinating to watch. The same thing here, Google has the same problem. Are there ads on ChatGPT? Nope. Are there ads on Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, Grok? Nope. So, but there are no ads. Right, but Google's used to ads, so what are they going to do? Here's my prediction. Marketing has moved since the inflation and recession that started about 3 years ago, more to away from advertising and more to subscription premium. I mentioned this earlier, youtube.com, no ads, $10 a month, and you get a bunch of other really cool features about, you get YouTube Music, you can shut off the screen and listen to things while you walk, a lot of cool things. It started, remember with Pandora, Spotify's got premium, LinkedIn has premium, right? The value's not really worth it, in my opinion. X premium, you don't see ads, you get premium and you get priority in the comments and the replies. Meta now, you can pay for premium. They took that from X, it didn't used to. Now LinkedIn Business Pages has premium. What you're seeing is a less reliance on advertising, but Google needs ads. So what's it gonna do? I predict they'll have a premium, a free version with ads, and they'll probably have a premium version where you may get the entire Google suite, YouTube and all of that, if you pay in a subscription. That's where I believe it's going, which would be a big hurt for Google advertisers. Because as we do a lot of X ads, and people that are premium and pay are the most active on the platform are not seeing our ads. Because one of the advantages of premium is not seeing the ads. The people that are most likely to use and engage on YouTube are people like me who pay for premium. I'm not seeing any ads. So we have this dilemma. How do they monetize when they're the most active and engaged users are the ones not seeing the ads? This is Google's challenge, and all tech companies, let's say, challenge, but Google in particular because they're so heavy on advertising. Full AI, and we'll incorporate ads. How, we don't know. I think it's clear where we think they will show, which I showed you on the side, and the breaks of every section. Then keyword research was going to be different because prompts, these is right, are going to be different for AI. We do longer queries. Run Google ads now, look at your longer search terms that people write in Google that have them click or see your ad, and understand what ads and what copy that they're clicking for. You need this data now. When Google.com as we know it dies, sunsets, right? You're not going to get this data. There won't be as much click-through, there won't be as much traffic, and your learning is going to be extremely limited. So it's very important to understand that extract as much data you now, so when they move over, you're dominating or winning. Non-search ads will take a bigger priority for Google. Okay, so if you're doing advertising now, consider, if you're not already, no-brainer, do display ads, try Gmail ads, YouTube ads. At the very least, non-search remarketing ads, especially if you're B2B, is very, very inexpensive touch points on longer sales cycles and longer marketing velocities. Google may also have a subscription model. Keep that in mind. What does that mean for advertising? We can never advertise for regular Gemini or Google users. This can radically change things. The challenges we have with advertising on other on YouTube for people that pay for it. And then search will expand, and therefore we'll find in the long-term new search advertising options, right? So as far as you know, you're thinking about opportunities from advertising on search will go down dramatically, but you may find now more people are using search now than ever, AI search. And then maybe in the future when they find out here are the three big players, let's say Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, once they boxed everyone out and then they built a moat, together they'll say, as an oligarchy, which these tech companies often are quietly, they compete with oligarchies, hey, let's start to incorporate ads so we can maximize now that we boxed out everyone else and built a moat, like we kicked the ladder from behind us, probably because of lobbying Congress. That's it. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions about advertising, about search ads, you can ask them now. Other ads you can ask for me later. If you want a free ads audit, Google or otherwise, you can contact me or Natalia Levchenko. Everyone turn around. See Natalia? Natalia loves attention. She's in the white shirt, so she can also help you. And feel free to follow us. We'll send the slide decks over if you register, probably on Sunday. And this will be up on YouTube. So subscribe to Wadi YouTube, owned by Google. And this will probably be up midweek. Thank you, Gabriella. And so give us a follow. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. And get ready for change.